We are back with more My Southern Home, and I'm here with Kelly Maher with Assured Electric and Maintenance. And Kelly, we're in a little bit of a tight spot and in a different part of the room that we're usually in, but it's so important because we're going to talk about the safety of electrical panels. And you have this beautiful panel that's a lot different than most of the panels that you see in the homes.
Yes, exactly. I want to start off talking about some panel safety things that this came up because the homeowner was having some electrical issues, and they called me out and they said, hey, seems like half our house isn't working. I said, well, I came over right away as fast as I could. I was like, this is a big deal. We need to figure out what's going on. And so I got to open up the old panel, which was really dark and dingy and really intimidating. Open it up, and I was checking a few things, and I realized that the main breaker was coming loose from the panel itself, and so that was creating an open, causing half the circuits not to work. And working with the homeowner, and he was like, my wife's here a lot, by herself and everything. She's like, I'm so scared of the panel. I don't even know where to start with the panel. It's like, nothing makes sense in there. I don't really understand it. It's not labeled very well. And so she was just scared. She was like, Kelly, can you please come help? And I was like, yes, I'll be there as fast as I can. And so I came here, and I'm checking everything. Half the house isn't working. And I found out that the main breaker came loose. And I was like, man, it's kind of bad. I got to replace your panel because there's no replacement breaker for your breaker. And they're like, okay, that's great. She's like, is there anything you can do to make it like better for us down here? I was like, they got this awesome new panel called Levington, and it's designed white just for people like you. So quick story about Levington. When they reached out to design this panel, they interviewed like so many women about electrical panels of all things. But they said, what is it about panels, that are scary? Like, well, they're dark, they don't make sense, they're usually not labeled. And so they put all the information together, and they designed this beautiful white panel. It's really easy to use. It's so bright. Now your electrician is responsible for a beautiful panel schedule that labels everything accurately, but they can only help so much with that. But as a homeowner or someone who's scared of electrical, when you walk up to this guy, you're like, okay, I think I can handle this. This is not nearly as scary or dark as most of your electrical panels out there.
Kelly, this is so interesting, and I love the fact that Levington took the time to ask women what they thought of electrical panels and took all of that information and turned it into this beautiful machine. Because as soon as I saw it, I was like, wow, this is really nice. Everything's labeled correctly. Because I'll be the first one to admit, my electrical panel, I've used it maybe twice.
Yeah.
And it's very confusing, and I don't know where anything is.
Exactly.
But this explains everything.
Yeah, it is. It's the breakers are, if you had one that was tripped or whatever, I don't know if you can see this green mark, but it would actually turn to red, and you'd be like, oh, that's the one that's obviously tripped, right? They really had a great idea, just making them less intimidating. As an electrician, when I take this cover off, the inside of it's white, which helps me a lot. I'm used to working in dark, areas too. It makes it easier for me to see what's going on as an electrician too. And so I just think these panels are really easy to use. I love them. The breakers are really easy to change out, and I feel like they're extremely safe.
Kelly, when you talk about electricity safety, and we went over this last year, it's really important to use someone like yourself, because just in this example, you came here and you knew what was going on. And if they didn't hire someone like you and they tried to fix it themselves, it could have been catastrophic for the homeowners.
Yes, I wish I had the breaker, and if I can find it, I'll share it with you. The main breaker was actually starting to melt at the top. It was getting so hot. It had a funny smell to it, but they didn't realize it. We're in a closet. They didn't notice the smell, but as soon as I opened it up, I realized, oh, something's going on here, and we need to figure it out real quick. That's some of the warning signs that you want to listen for in any electrical safety, but especially panels. If you got circuits that are flickering off and on, it could be due to a loose breaker or a loose main breaker or a loose wire in the panel. And if you hear like a sizzling sound in your panel, everything may be working, but sometimes you can hear a sizzling sound. That's an indicator that something's going wrong. Funny smells, pay attention to your smells around your panel. They shouldn't smell at all. So pay attention to that. The sizzling one is one I hear quite a bit. That's a real quick indicator. it sounds almost like bacon frying if you've ever heard it.
Oh, wow.
It's really interesting, yeah, and scary at the same time.
All right, well, thank you so much, Kelly. I'm so excited to be here today because this is such valuable information, and we always show the pretty things, right?
Yeah,
the beautiful lights, but this is the machine that powers your entire house.
Exactly. All those beautiful lights have to come through a panel as beautiful as this.
We'll be back with more My Southern Home in just a moment.